Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Kamla Delahaye, and I will be the moderator for today's webinar. All guests will be muted during the webinar presentation, but I will be monitoring the comment section, so feel free to ask questions and we will address them at the end of the presentation. Today's webinar will be hosted by our Director of Engineering, Jason Brownell, and he will be joined by Georgianne Veslavic from Remcon. Remcon has been a customer of ours since 2002, so over 23 years, and dare I say they are one of my favorites. So I'm very excited to learn more about Remcon and how they benefit from using our fusion labeling technologies. Thank you so much, and without further ado, here's Jason Brownell.
Thank you, Kamla, so much, and thank you for always moderating these. You do a great job, so thank you. Yeah, I'm excited to have Georgianne here today, and I think it's going to be very informative. But before we bring her to the stage, a couple things I want to go over, and that is just what fusion labeling really is. Now, not all of these slides pertain specifically to Remcon Plastics, but I do want to kind of give an overview of the technology and kind of go over the basics just so everybody has an idea of what we're talking about here. So, when we're talking about labeling like polyethylene, polypropylene, things like that, it's a very low surface energy material. And that can be a challenge to try to decorate. In fact, when you look at uh, or how they calculate the surface energy is one way is dynes per centimeter. And if you look at the dynes per centimeter, say for polyethylene, polypropylene, it's very, very low surface energy. It's down there pretty close to Teflon, which of course we coat our cookware. Nothing wants to stick to that stuff. And so it can be a challenge trying to label polyethylene and polypropylene. The other thing is those materials are constantly expanding and contracting. And if you've ever been on one of these webinars before, you've heard me use the analogy of taking an adhesive bandage and putting it on your knuckle. Um, that expansion and contraction and that movement of materials can be a challenge. You start flexing a adhesive based bandage on your knuckle, it's fine as long as you keep everything flat. But as soon as it starts moving, it has a tendency to want to delaminate. And then, of course, you add moisture to the equation. And again, that can cause challenges or delamination. And then lastly, there's a lot of outgassing that can come from olefinic materials. A lot of times when I go into a facility, I will see staging areas set aside just waiting for things to outgas before they are going to apply an adhesive type application. So before we go into uh, our technology, I do want to talk a little bit about what's out there. What are the options? So first one is just a good old fashioned sticker. It's a pressure sensitive adhesive type label. And you can have defects in the field where it's wanting to come off the surface of the plastic, like you saw in those photos. Next up, and again, this would not only pertain to hot stamping foil, but if anybody out there is doing pad printing or silk screening, again, those can have challenges when you're taking adhesive based technologies, ink plus adhesive, and trying to make it stick to something that's such a low surface energy material. So, again, next up would be a heat transfer, similar to some of the technologies that ours have, but again, the construction is very different because it's utilizing ink and adhesive, and it's prone to delamination on super low surface energy materials. And then next up is in mold labeling. Now, this is pertaining to injection molding for the listening audience out there. Some of the in mold labels that are available, if you look at the construction of them, they'll typically have like a clear coat followed by a layer of ink and then a tie layer that pulls everything together. The challenge there is if the clear breaks down for some reason, that can expose the ink. Um, so we're talking today about polymer fusion technology, and that comes in a lot of different forms from our company. We have both mold in graphics, mold on graphics, and then the polyfuse line. This slide really kind of tells the story. We're taking our label material, which is plastic, and we're putting it together either with the plastic part or we're putting it together with the plastic resin, and then they're melting together. So think of it as plastic welding. Okay, you're taking two thermoplastics, heating them up in various applications, whether that's in the mold for rotational molding, on the surface of a part, whether it's rotationally molded, blow molded, thermoformed, injection molded. It can be done post molding. But again, heat is the key ingredient to all of this. We're melting two like materials together. This is just a really quick snapshot of some of the durability testing that we do on this, from pressure washing to various chemicals. And again, you wouldn't expect to see any sort of delamination because it becomes part of the plastic. So a lot of things we're known for. Durability is probably one of them. Uh, we're known for, branding products. And, when we bring Georgianne on, she can talk a lot about that. So in addition to branding, though, people come to us for other reasons as well. It's not just about branding. If you're involved in, say, the medical industry and you have a part that is using antimicrobial materials, we can actually incorporate antimicrobial properties to the labeling material as well. We have things that are designed to counteract counterfeiting, to be able to authenticate product even when it's in a ground up form. We do a lot with barcoding technologies, serialization for track and trace purposes, and Georgianne will be talking a little bit about that. And then safety and warning. Sometimes you have a product that needs to have instructional material on it to maybe keep the consumer safe, and you want it there for the life of the product. Georgianne and I were talking a little bit earlier, and she was talking about some of these things are in the field for 15, 20 years. So having it be there for the life of the product is important. And then lastly, because our label material is part of the plastic, at the end of its life cycle, and I've seen a lot of people designing parts now with end of life in mind. And so at the end of a product's life, because our label material becomes part of the plastic, it can be completely ground up and made into something else. So it is 100% recyclable. So thank you for allowing me to go through that. I think that'll maybe help as we have the discussions. And so I'll remove that slide, and I want to bring and welcome to the stage Georgianne. Hello, Georgianne.
Hi, Jason. Hi, Kamala. Good morning.
So thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Yep. Or for some of the visitors, it may be afternoon or evening, depending on
Yeah.
where at around the globe. So look forward to talking with you today. And tell us about you. Like, what's kind of your background?
So, I've been at Remcon for 10 years now. It will
Okay.
be 10 years in April, this coming April. And before I started at Remcon, I worked in the pharmaceutical and chemical industries and made the decision to make a change. Before I joined Remcon, I had a lot of cross functional experience. I've worked in inside sales, forecasting and demand management, procurement, and then I moved into the marketing arena. And I joined Remcon, as I said, in April. It will be 10 years. So um, I'm excited to be here. I it's a small family owned business, and it the values of Remcon align very closely with my values, and I love working with our customers on a daily basis. It's a small family owned company, so I wear many hats. I manage the customer service area, I get involved on the sales side, and I'm also the director of marketing. And I love being able to interface with our customers. That brings me joy every day. So it's a very nice fit. So.
I certainly hear that. So tell us a little bit about Remcon then.
So Remcon is a family, as I mentioned, we're family owned.
Hmm.
We're a rotational molder, and the business was founded in 1982 by Pete Connors, and I included a photo of Pete so everyone can see his smiling face this morning.
Sure.
And when Pete first opened the business, he opened it in Conshohocken, Pennsylvania. And before I start talking about the evolution of the business, I wanted to share a funny story. When Pete moved into the facility, he purchased his first rotomolding machine. And the company that built the machine for him, when they sent the machine, they built him a small steel bucket that could be used as a mold on the machine so he could practice. So when the machine arrived, he hooked the machine up, mounted the bucket mold to the machine, and ran it through the cycle. And for anyone who knows anything about rotomolding, or if you don't, it runs through a cook cycle. Once it's done cooking, and as it's in the oven cooking, it is spinning while it's in the oven, or it's rotating, hence the term rotational molder. After it's done spinning, it will go into the cooling chamber, and then the part will be demolded. When the part is demolding, it then goes through a secondary process where it will get trimmed, and any additional secondary processes are completed. So Pete ran the mold the first time, and when the mold came out, this is, I don't know if you can see this, but this is the part that came out. You can kind of see the base of what looks like what would be a bucket, but it looks nothing like a bucket. And we all call this the strawberry. And Pete keeps this strawberry on his desk. It's still in his office. And he keeps it in there just to remind himself of kind of his humble beginnings, where the business started and where he came today, where he is today. And we never lose focus of where we started. So I just wanted to share that story with everyone. I thought it was a cool story. It was a funny story.
Absolutely. It's a great story.
And yeah, so in 1990, I'll fast forward to 1990, Pete started to run out of space. So he finally figured out the rotational molding process, and we moved the business to Reading, Pennsylvania. And that move allowed us to quadruple our plant size. We are sitting on a plant with 40,000 square feet at our property, and we are proud to be made in the USA. Every product that we make is manufactured in Reading, Pennsylvania. So we're proud of that. And it's very important. Family is very important for Pete. And in 2017, he was very excited because Tracy Connors, his daughter, joined the business. And she is now our acting vice president and CEO. And then in 2023, James Connors, Pete's son, joined the business, and he is our director of design. And James came to us with a lot of industrial design experience, and it's been a great addition to the organization having both of them join.
That
And
is fantastic. No, that's fantastic. I love that.
And Pete loves working with. He still comes into the office every day, and I think it's fun. He likes working with his kids. He's enjoying turning over the reins and seeing what's in store for our future and how we can further grow the business. So
Well,
it's
that's great.
exciting.
And speaking of business, you kind of have things broken up a little bit, right? Talk a little bit about
Yes,
that if
we
you
do.
would.
So if you look at one thing you'll hear throughout my presentation, throughout our discussion, is we have a lot of diversity in the products that we make and the market segments that we sell into. And if you look at Remcon, we have three primary business units. Our first business unit, and these are in no particular order of importance. The first one is material handling, where we're selling into a lot of integrated food processors, pharmaceutical companies, industrial companies, and we make plastic combo bins that I'll show you a photo of later in the presentations.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go to the grocery store and you buy chicken or turkey or sausage or hot dogs, chances are one of those products has ridden in one of our plastic combo bins as it's gone through the processing cycle at some of the food processors. We also sell plastic lockers. A lot of food processors love using plastic lockers because cleanliness and sanitation is really important for them. They want to keep their plants as safe as possible. So for them, having plastic lockers, they can have employees keep their personal items in the plastic lockers before they enter onto the plant floor. And then typically it depends on their sanitation process, but we have some companies that every week they will have employees remove their belongings, and then they go through and some of them will hose down the plastic locker. So it makes it very easy for plants to keep down any possibilities of bacteria and just keep things clean.
Sure.
So plastic lockers really enable them for that process. We also sell very durable plastic pallets, drums, and we also sell hoppers into the pharmaceutical industry, nutraceuticals, and also to a lot of candy companies. I guarantee you there are some candies out there that you eat today that have ridden in one of our hoppers as well.
How
So,
fun.
yeah.
Fun. Yeah, we get to see some examples of that too here coming up.
Yeah,
But
it's
yeah,
really
continue.
cool when you're watching TV. For example, this year watching the Super Bowl, there was a commercial for one of the companies, a candy company that uses our hoppers. So that was kind of exciting to see.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The second business that we sell into is traffic safety and construction. So
Sure.
we manufacture water-filled barricades and channelizing devices. So if you are out on the road and you're driving through a city and they're doing a vertical construction project, you'll see it in downtown Manhattan or Philadelphia. Um, the water-fill barriers, they're typically orange or white, and they will be outlining the perimeter of the job site.
Mm-hmm.
So they're basically used as a visual indicator for anyone driving by in a vehicle or walking through that particular work area. We've also sold them into industrial manufacturing facilities. There's a famous rocket ship company out there, I won't mention any names, that they have our barricades throughout their facility, and they use them to channelize foot traffic for their employees and guide them through safe areas. So they're used as a safety mechanism within those plants.
Sure.
And you'll also see them at special events, concerts, outdoor festivals. When COVID hit, we also had people using them for outdoor parklets for outdoor dining. So
Got it.
very, very interesting applications, very different.
For sure. Now,
And then,
those are some of your proprietary products. You guys
yes,
do custom molding as well, correct?
we do.
Okay.
So we have our third part of our business is our OEM side of the business,
Mhm.
where we will serve as the manufacturing arm for other companies. So a couple of things can happen. We can have a company that may come to us and say, hey, I have my own mold. I'm unhappy with the current molder I have. Could be for a number of reasons. And we'll have a conversation, make sure it's a good fit, and we'll start molding for them. We also have had companies come to us and they've said, hey, I've got a product, I've got a mold, but I'm having issues with my customers. It's not hitting the mark on what the customer needs are. Can you help me? So in that case, we'll take a look at their designs and we'll work collaboratively with them to reinvent the product and create something that is hitting the mark with the true customer requirements. And we've
Got it.
got an extensive industrial design and industrial engineering team that will work collaboratively with them.
Yeah,
And
that was
focus,
going to be kind of one of my next questions was, if I just have an idea, but I don't
Yes.
know what I need. I don't have a mold. I don't have a design. Is that something that you can help me with?
Yes, if
Yeah.
someone has an idea and they want to collaborate on a project,
Mhm.
uh, sometimes they may have made some molds that haven't worked properly. We will work with them on those particular projects. This is one area that he loves getting involved in. We love solving problems here. In fact, at one point, we had a statement on our website that said, if we can't solve your problem or if we can't help you, we'll tell you who can. We'll help you find who can.
That's
So
great.
again, for us, it's all about creating products that will meet the customer's requirements.
Sure. Let's talk a little bit about, I know we kind of touched on this, creating products that make life easier and safer. And you kind of mentioned some examples about that, just being able to channel where people go to keep them safe. So that's fantastic. Is there anything else you wanted to add to this slide here, or did you want me
Um,
to continue?
no, we can just talk briefly that our main mission and vision at Remcon, our tagline is turning the ordinary into the extraordinary.
Mhm.
So again, I touched upon it a little earlier. It's about understanding what the customer requirements are and how we can take a product and make it better to meet their needs.
That's
And we do that with integrity, excellence, and one thing that I'm very proud of, unrivaled customer service. If
great.
someone calls here, we will pick up the phone, you will get a live body, and I guarantee it'll be an experience like no other. We
That's
hear that from our customers a lot. So we
that's
take
fantastic.
great pride in that.
That's great. Uh, Can you want to talk a little bit about some of the core values here? You've touched on
Sure.
some of them, so.
I touched upon some of them, and I won't spend a lot of time on this slide,
Mhm.
but um, again, what with us, we put integrity in everything that we do at Remcon, and we will have a well-rounded support team that will help our customers in whatever ways we need, whether it's for customers, employees, or our own community that we work in and amongst. And the last thing I'll talk about is we want to make sure we're having fun while we're doing it. When Pete's in the office, and he typically comes in every day, he will walk around the building and he'll stop by and he'll say, how are you doing? Are we having fun yet? He wants to make sure everyone's having fun. So we
That's
take our
great.
jobs very seriously, but we want to make sure we're having fun while we're doing it. And our core values are at the root of everything that we do at Remcon.
That is
It's
great.
how the business was born, how it's continued, and will continue into the future.
That's great. So I'm looking at this slide here, and just for everybody because you helped me to understand that, what is that acronym at the top where it says ATS-SA? What does that mean?
Um, so that is one of the trade shows that we're going to be doing. It's the annual convention and traffic expo,
Mhm.
and we're actually going to be heading there in 2 weeks. It's the end of February, beginning of March, and there's a lot of traffic companies that will be there.
Okay.
Walking around, see what products are new on the market, and it's a good way to just connect with our customers and prospects in this area.
That's great.
And
Okay.
we're
Thank you.
looking forward to it because it's in Orlando. So time to get away from the frigid temperatures and get to some warm weather. So
For sure. Well, it sounds like it's coming up quick. So that's
it
exciting.
is. It is.
That is. There's a story behind this, right? You were
Yeah.
briefly sharing it with me. I think everybody would like to hear it. So tell us about it, please.
So I thought this would be something good to share. We're talking about Mold on Graphics and
Mhm.
the Polyfuse organization as well as Remcon and how you've helped us with our customers. So Empire Tool is one of our distributors and rental houses in the Brooklyn area. And they had started using our products. And one day I got an email, well, actually, it was a text message from one of their salespeople. And he was so excited. He sent me the picture that's in the lower left-hand side of the screen.
Mhm.
And he was like, Georgianne, I just wanted to share this with you. Look how cool the barricades look on the job site. And again, I looked at the photo and I wrote back to him and I said, congratulations, I'm so excited that you won the job. But there's I always want to be honest with people. I said, if you want to have your branding on the product, and you could see they were using stickers on the barricades,
Mhm.
and it had their logo on, and some of them were peeling off. You could see the one, it just, all it takes is a little bit of dirt behind that sticker, and it will start to peel till the point where it's hanging on by a fine thread. Some of the other stickers were put on and they were crooked. And I said to him, if this were my company, and I would rather have the units out without any branding than to have my branding on and having it have this appearance.
Sure.
So we had a conversation and he said, well, what do you recommend? What could we do to make it better? And I said, look at having your logo in a mold on graphic that will be, you're actually fusing the two pieces of plastic together. And you talked a little bit earlier about how it's more of a permanent label. It's not going to come off. We have customers that are using our bins for 20 years that will have logos on, mold on graphics, and they are going through wash cycles on a daily basis, and that graphic is not coming off. So we talked a little bit about having their graphic applied. And if you think about these units, these are out in the harsh elements. They're in, it could be raining, snowing, sleeting. And with the mold on graphic, it is not going anywhere. That will be with the product through its lifetime. So they made the decision to move forward and transition over to the graphics. And I I called this customer a few days ago to get their permission to use their image in this presentation. And when I called him, I wish I could have brought him on the webinar because he was so animated. He said, oh my gosh, I remember when we used those stickers. They were horrible. They were so expensive. They didn't work. They kept peeling off. And he said the best thing we ever did was to move over to getting our logo on. They had just done a rebranding at their organization and they made the investment in getting the graphics, and he's never looked back. So
That's a great story. Well,
yeah,
thank you for sharing that. And
sure.
typically when I think about barricades that I see, eh, oftentimes they're orange or they're white, and sometimes they're alternating orange and white. But looks like you guys can do custom colors as well, right?
Yes, so we can customize any product that you have in terms of having a custom color. I put this picture in to show some of our barricades, to show some of the different colors that we've done. We've also had customers customize lockers that they've had in their facility. I know we had one customer that looked at the branding of their organization and took their corporate colors and turn their employee locker room and utilize those corporate colors in the it was just a way for them to carry the branding throughout the organization.
Yeah.
So
No, that's
um,
great. That's great. Exciting
and
to
we'll
see.
do, even if you need 5 barricades in a color, we'll do it for you. We
That,
want to make sure we get you what you need.
that's great. And you were talking a little bit about the show that you're going to be going to in Orlando. And I understand that you have kind of different booth spaces and things like that. But tell me a little bit about what we're looking at here, please.
So I included this slide, Jason, just to show you an overview of some of the other products that we make.
Hmm.
I talked a little bit about the material handling side of the business. And if you look in the back, right underneath the Remcon name, you'll see some of our lockers. We manufacture 60-inch, 36-inch, 18-inch, and 12-inch lockers. And again, we can make them in different colors. I mentioned earlier about the one company that incorporated their corporate colors into their locker room.
Mm-hmm.
We have very durable plastic pallets. You'll see them that are located in the front. We're kind of going for a patriotic theme for this particular show.
Sure.
To the left, you'll have one of our material handling combo bins. So again, when I was talking earlier, if you're in the grocery store and you buy some chicken, chances are that product has ridden in one of our material handling bins at some point in time. And we also offer a bin that has a detachable pallet. So if a customer is very hard on their bins, and sometimes the base or the pallet base can get damaged with a forklift, this allows them just to replace the pallet bottom and not have to invest in purchasing a whole new bin. So we've got
Yeah.
different styles of bins depending upon their needs for their particular facility.
Yeah, I
And then,
really like that example because, this is that design and the forethought to have a bin and a pallet that are together. They're designed for one another. So that's fantastic.
yes, and you can see in this picture in the back, we've got two bins that are nesting together. So you can see these steps in the bin. These steps were put in to allow for a nesting capability. So when folks are done using them, instead of having bins take up a lot of floor space, they can nest the bins together.
That's
And it
great.
also helps with economies when you're shipping them as well.
For sure.
And you can see on this top bin, we have a red pallet base, and then we also put our logo on it with some different colors through Moldline Graphics.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got customers that will either put their company name on. Some of them like to track their assets, so we can put a barcode label on,
Mm-hmm.
or some people would like to have them numerically numbered. So if someone's ordering 100 bins, they may want to have bin number 1 labeled with a number 1 and then have them labeled throughout. So
Sure.
we do a lot of that as well.
Back to that whole track and traceability that we were
Yes.
talking about. They want to be able to know where things are at. So can you talk a
Yep.
little bit about what's on the right-hand side there of that slide? That's kind of an interesting story
Sure.
too.
In the very back corner, the back right-hand corner of this photo is one of our dry bulk hoppers. So this is a new product that we designed, and it's a mass flow hopper, and we use the word mass flow because at the bottom of the hopper, it is a true conical design, and that helps avoiding when customers, a lot of our spice companies, if you've got a spice company that has salt, pepper, and maybe garlic powder in a spice blend, sometimes when you're dispensing from certain peppers on the marketplace, you will have segregation, and the salt will separate from the pepper based upon the particle size. With our particular hopper, it not only helps avoid segregation, but it also helps to have an even discharge flow, which is important to our customers. So that's one of our newer our newer products that we've recently launched.
That's great.
And I don't know if you can see, but we also have our logo included on that as well.
Yes, you
Um,
do.
and we have a lot of customers that have chosen to get, instead of having our logo on it, we'll put their logo on it as well. Again, people love the fact that they can brand these products,
Sure.
and Polyfuse has helped us do that. I remember the one day I got a phone call from a gentleman who was traveling through the Charlotte airport, and he happened to look out the window and he saw our water fill barricades with our logo, and he quickly took a picture, and Google Lens helped him identify, because our logo was on it, who the manufacturer was. And he called and he said, I don't know where you guys are located. I need to talk to someone. I need to start bringing these in and utilizing this at our company. And they had locations across the country. So it's helped us with brand awareness, and it certainly helped our customers as well.
For sure. This is kind of another example, right?
Yep, this is another picture of one of our trade shows. This is our a show that we do is actually coming up in April. It's typically known as the Powder Show. It's the International Powder and Bulk Solid Show. And you can see again, we have some of our pallets exhibited. We've got again our dry bulk hopper in the back. It's a true mass flow hopper. And then we have some of our other hoppers over to the right. These are some hoppers that are used for not a dry powdered product, but more of a coffee bean or a
Okay.
pharmaceutical tablet or capsule could be used. We've got a lot of pharma companies and coffee companies that use these particular hoppers. And then we have one of our drums in the booth as well, just to kind of show you, again, very diverse set of products and diverse set of market segments that we sell into.
For sure. The Let's talk about this one just a little bit.
So I wanted to include some photos of, I talked about some of the interesting ways that our water fill barriers could be used. And I just wanted to show some photos that I think are really cool. This is a photo of the New York City Auto Show. And this is actually anyone who went to the show could go to this particular area, and they had a test drive track set up for some of the vehicles. So you could go and test drive a vehicle that you might be interested in purchasing. And they used our water filled barricades to delineate the path for the drivers. The nice thing about our water fill barrier, we call it our Guard Safe 36, it can pivot up to 90 degrees. They're all connected with a plastic pin. So it allowed them to make the curvature along the track while still keeping the pedestrians that were attending the show safe and also keep the vehicles on the designated path for the track.
For sure. Love it. Um, this is interesting. Tell us what we're looking at here, please.
So this is a photo of it was probably within the last couple of years. In Philadelphia, there was a tractor trailer that was making a turn on an exit ramp right underneath a bridge abutment, and they hit the wall, and the vehicle exploded, and it caused the entire bridge to collapse. So, the what was important for them was to secure the site. Again, making the site as safe as possible while they started to do the rebuilding. And sure, they had reached out to one of our distributors, and they were able to quickly get some of our water fill barricades in. You could see this long delineation, this long line of orange. These are all of our water fill barricades that were put in place to keep people safe from this gaping hole that was created when the bridge collapsed.
Sure. No, that's fantastic. Keeping people safe.
Yeah.
What are we looking at here? Boston Marathon, huh? That's kind of fun.
Yeah, so we were excited. One of our distributors had sold some units that were out on rent to the Boston Marathon. And again, creating a path, channelizing pedestrians and the runners through the particular race track. And everyone talks about the Boston Marathon, so we were really excited to be a part of it and see our product prominently displayed at the race.
That's great. It's certainly sharp looking units there for sure.
Yeah.
What are we looking at here?
So this is a photo that James, I mentioned James earlier, he was on a visit with his family, and they went to visit the Statue of Liberty, and lo and behold, they arrived and saw our water fill barricades that were cordoning off a work area, and he got some really cool shots. I know you can see on my background, this is another one of the shots that he took. It was more of an aerial shot, and it's exciting. You can be out and about doing family stuff on a weekend, and you come across our units, and it just makes us proud to see how our products are being used in the field, and again, keeping pedestrians safe.
Yeah, I get that. I know I drive my family a little nuts because I'm always like, oh, there we are, there we are. You know, you see them everywhere. So
Yes, I
no, it's
annoy
great.
my family all the time. We'll be out at a festival and I'll say, "Oh, hold on." And my son will say, "Oh, they're yours. I can see your logo." And then we stop and take pictures, and yeah, it can be annoying at times, but I think now they've kind of gotten used to it at this point. And
Well,
now
and if
they willingly participate.
yeah, I get that. And Kamala, if you follow her on LinkedIn, you will see a lot of that as well. So I think that's
Yeah.
the end of the presentation portion of it. I want to go ahead and bring Kamala back to the stage because she's been monitoring things. And welcome back, Kamala.
Hi, thank you. Great job, Georgianne. It was very interesting. I love
Very.
that Remcon does all of the colors and customization. You know, there's a saying in rotomolding, paint it blue and pass it through, where most rotomolders don't want to take the time to offer custom decoration to people or sometimes even put their own logo on things. But having your branding on there is so beneficial, not only for Remcon, but also for all the customers. So even though we are a label supplier and make a lot of labels for these spaces that you're in, Remcon's the only one that I know of that offers custom decoration to their customers on their barricades and their parts, allowing them to put their labels on. So that really sets Remcon apart by being willing to go the extra step for their customers like that. So we appreciate it, and I'm sure your customers do too.
Well,
I
and
only did, go ahead.
no, I just wanted to thank you, Kamala, because we would not be able to do that without the partnership and collaboration we have with your team. Um, we when we sell the custom graphics, it can be dictated. The pricing can be dictated based on the quantity or the number of colors or the size of the graphic. And when it gets down to quantity, if when we worked with Empire Tool, they first approached us and they said, "All right, well, what if we wanted to get a truckload and we just wanted them on one side?" And we started to take a look at it. And then we said, "All right, how can we get creative that we can get the costs down, allow them to use the units and get their branding out, but still keep the costs down?" Because it can be a competitive space that they're working in. And we went to you guys, and you have offered us a blanket order program now. So we looked at their volume for the entire year, came up with the quantity, and you guys now they'll place a blanket order with us that will split out over quarterly installments throughout the year. You make it in one production run. You hold the units at your facility in a temperature cooled environment and controlled environment. And when we need them, we'll bring them in from you. And that was a game changer for us. It's been a game changer for our customers. So I just want to thank you guys for working with us on that. And we've definitely seen an increase in the customers that are looking to go or willing to spend the money on graphics now that we've just made that tiny bit of a change in our offering, and it certainly helped greatly. So thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you. The blanket order really works out well for us too. I mean, our labels are custom manufactured out of plastic every time, so they're not an ink and adhesive that we can just easily go print a couple of them. So having the ability to offer a blanket order where we can run a larger portion of graphics at one time and then pass the savings on to you and your customer by splitting up the shipments, it really helps us too. So thank you. You're a great partner, and I would even now call you a friend. So thank you, Georgianne.
Likewise.
The only question that I did have was about the minimum order requirements. Like, can a customer order any amount of barricades for you? Do you require a truckload at a time, or are you willing to sell smaller quantities?
Um, Customers can order any quantity they want. We've had some customers that have come in and they said, we have a very small project, and we just need 3 units. Now, the one thing is on the traffic side of our business, we sell through distribution. So if someone comes to us, if an end user comes to us and they need a couple of units or whatever they need, we will partner them up with a local stocking distributor, so they have products that are close by. Now, if the stocking distributor comes to us and they say we have a customer and they'd like to get in some custom colors for a special project, we'll run 5 of them for them. We don't mind. We put the customer at the center of everything we do, and we try to work with them to help address their needs for their particular projects that they have going on. And yes, we'll do 5 if they want them. It's not a problem. So
That's great.
And Georgette, I just had a comment come through, a customer asking if we, do you have barrier display available for trade shows? So it says, do you
do we
have a barrier display available for trade shows? So is that something maybe I could share your contact information and someone could contact you directly at Remcon?
Yes, we can certainly do that. When we go to the ATSA show, we do take our barriers with us. We will have our Guard Safe 42 unit, which is 42 inches high. And then we have our 36-inch barrier, our Guard Safe 36. We take them. We also take some fence toppers along with us. If someone is going to a small trade show and they need a unit to exhibit, but they don't have the space, one thing that we can do is we can print 3D models and have them available for them to keep on. It might be a small tabletop show that they're doing, so we can do a 3D print and in different sizes, and that's how we've kind of handled that request. So if someone needs anything, yes, feel free to share my contact information. I'll be more than happy to help.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Kamla, for moderating this event. Georgianne, can't thank you enough. It's been fantastic. So thank you for
I've
being our
enjoyed
guest.
myself.
Thank
Thank you
you. And I
so
just wanted
much.
to remind everyone that this LinkedIn Live webinar does stay up on LinkedIn. So if you missed a part, I did see there was a comment that it was frozen for one of the guests that was trying to view. So I apologize for that. Maybe sign out and back in, and hopefully it will reload for you, but it will be available to be replayed. It stays up on LinkedIn. So feel
Yeah,
free to
that's a great
watch it
point.
again if you wanted to see something or if you missed a part.
Okay.
Great. Well, thank you, everybody around the globe who's joining us today. Georgianne, thank you. Kamla, thank you. And if you have any questions for Remcon, feel free to reach out. If you have any questions regarding mold in, mold on, polyfuse graphics, we certainly have a team here to help you. So thank you,
And
everybody.
Georgianne, you just got a really nice comment too. Remcon has an amazing team, great to work with. Customer service is top priority. They always go above and beyond for their customers. So
Oh, I
just
don't know
what
who
you
that was. Thank you so much. We appreciate that, and we appreciate our customers very much.
All righty. Thank you
That's
guys.
great.
Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Take
Bye
care.
bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.